Trade finance is one of the biggest opportunities in crypto, and you know which project is trying to move trade finance the most, specializing in it. You guessed it right, folks. XDC network. Look at this. Totally agreed. Trade finance is a multi-trillion-dollar market that is still largely paper-based. Blockchain could streamline verification, reduce fraud, and open access to all players. This is true, folks. The paper-based system needs to change due to a lot of different reasons, folks. First and foremost, you know how outdated, how slow this system is, how this manual work is not transparent, people are not accountable. Meanwhile, you can also point out the environmental damage that it has, folks. You need paper, you get paper by cutting trees. Meanwhile, the digital arena is really good for each and every one of that factor. Look at this, trade finance is the low-hanging fruit, but using that term is undervaluing the work and effort that takes to accomplish everything that needs to be done to achieve this. I agree, folks, because if you want to have a mastery in global trade finance, in my opinion, you need to be a master of tokenization, real-world assets, trade document tokenization, obviously, and payment sector as well to a certain extent. You need that. You need a good team behind that. You need some sort of good mechanism about in various sectors, folks, and you have to be compliant as well. While we're at it, we're going to be looking at some compliance needs as well in a moment, why regulations are important and how XDC is regulated in a new podcast episode. So stay tuned. XDC Network and the entire team behind it is making this possible step by step. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, all in due time. So this is what I'm talking about, folks. There was a podcast posted by XDC Network Official. New episode of the XDC APAC podcast is out now. Points discussed in podcast: the evolution of RWAs on XDC, how the combination of DeFi plus RWAs creates new structured financial products, the rise of regulated stablecoins, USDC, and the expanding $300 billion stablecoin market, challenges around liquidity, custody, and regulation, recent ecosystem growth across ETPs, circle integrations, on-off ramps, and global events. Meanwhile, why institutional adoption is accelerating through compliant infrastructure. Folks, you have to check this out yourselves. This is a bit long, but we're going to be looking at this new environment which is being built to see where XDC network stands and where the entire market is as a whole. Inside XDC, RWAs, DeFi, and stablecoin adoption. So let's check this out. A deep dive by Benny. Let's find out.
Yeah, first of all, none of this stuff that is happening on this podcast, not a financial advice. And I'm just saying about my assumptions and what I saw in the market. If you look at the last bull run that happened 2020 and 2021, and if you look at the first ETF of Bitcoin and the capital movement towards these type of financial products, we saw that basically a lot of institutions are more familiar with compliance wrappers like ETPs or ETFs. That XDC, by the way, thanks to 21 shares, we have a ETP exposure for XDC network that create the rails for institutions to compliantly interact with the blockchain products or the blockchain financial products, right? So that's a very important movement. And regarding your question about the alt season, and basically it's really relevant to what's happening at Federal Reserve or Fed and the interest rates, and basically based on the historical stuff that has happened throughout the history. Whenever the cuts are low, DeFi is booming. So in terms of the capital and the yield products or financial related stuff, and eventually it impacts to the ecosystem of that particular product. Can be ETH, can be Solana, can be XDC, variety of layer 1 and layer 2s in general. That's the beauty of blockchain, basically, and game theory that is happening through the blockchain, basically from the investor's perspective, builder's perspective, and also the ecosystem's perspective. So I think that's a really important, conclusion, I would say.
So again, whatever we're discussing it here, it's not a financial advice. Do your own due diligence before you sort of invest into any stables or altcoins, Benny, because regulations are a very important, I think, segment that anything that touches people's money, regulations obviously has to be around, right? The recent regulations, be it the Genius Act, or the MiCA regulations that kicked in, how that is relevant to XDC ecosystem? Yeah,
regulation is very important to nowadays is very relevant to whatever activities that is happening on the on chain, basically. So I would say from the XDC's standpoint, the architecture standpoint, I would say XDC is very compliant on that front, because if you want to operate on the network, you need to be KYC'd and then stake a certain amount of XDC token, and you will be eligible to operate on the network as a master node or standby node, right? So what this really does is it's very compliant with the it's very easy to be compliant with the factors that is happening around the regulation in different jurisdictions. So I would say from that front, XDC from day one since 2019, it was it's been compliant, right, on that front, because we have KYC nodes. In comparison, for some other networks, they don't have such type of facilities. I mean, for KYC nodes to operate on the network. The source of and origination of the fund or the person that wants to operate on the network, any type of L1 or L2s, is very important. Yeah. Regarding your question about regulation and these acts that are popping out every week in the US, I would say, I covered the Genius Act. So non-yield bearing stablecoin, and it should be one-to-one backed by the fiat or held in the US treasuries or on the bank. And other acts that came out, so that I remember, it was related to proof of stake networks that is directly relevant to what XDC does. So it's compliant to institutions that's running this type of financial infrastructures, because based on the blockchain's design, when you operate the node, you are expecting some rewards, right? Because you are putting your efforts, you are running nodes, putting some electricities, or it's mining, right? It's mining. It's happening on Bitcoin, but XDC on that front is very efficient because it's a proof of a stake, delegated proof of a stake network, right? So you don't need to put a lot of computation power to fix the puzzles. It's now legal. That's why a lot of ETFs and ETPs, although they have some funds that held in their custody, they are allocating a little bit of their funds or their percentage into the validators, especially for proof of stake networks, that is targeting a higher yield, and eventually those index funds and whatever financial regulatory wrappers that we have on top of the crypto assets can generate more yield, right? Another factor is DATS, DATCOs, the digital assets treasuries companies, that, for example, we saw a micro strategy that they run this for the first time, and followed by ETH and Solana. So I would say there is a huge opportunity for XDC and XDC community to having such financial products, that basically it's a company that people buy this share of tokens, and under the hood everything goes and buy that particular underlying crypto assets, right? So that's a very important aspect, because there is a lot of demand right now at the time of speaking for the crypto assets, that a lot of institutions, depending on the risk appetite, they are preferring to operate on the chain. A lot of private equity firms or public allocators, that they can perform better than traditional finance, right? That's why always we have like a comparison between TradFi and the on-chain capital, because we are solving some very complex puzzles, right? On this front. That's really makes it more efficient and very accessible.
So I think we have been racing with the whole idea of, having this decentralized ledger, the blockchain technology, the cryptocurrencies, the tokenized assets. If you compare with the capital markets, I mean, people do ask me about adoption, like, where is the adoption? I mean, we have been trying to race with the capital markets, and it's not there yet, I would say, in terms of adoption, but eventually it will be. I think we all believe in the technology, right? Thank you so much, Benny, for your time. I know it's like you've been rushing in and out of many conferences and today and probably in the coming next few days as well. And it was good to have you on this podcast in Singapore with the APAC, which is the APAC podcast. You've been very active on social media with your.
Folks, this all depends on institutional involvement, folks. And from the looks of it, we're seeing BlackRock, JP Morgan, they're getting involved in this industry, Franklin Templeton. If you talk about Securitize, it is really tight with XDC network. And who is associated with Securitize? BlackRock. And indirectly, we know that XDC network might have something or a lot to do with the new financial system. Look at this exciting week of visibility for the XDC network. Our co-founder Atul Kekade was busy sharing the XDC vision, interviewed by FinTech TV, interviewed by Bloomberg, visited the NYSE. So this is what we're talking about. The future of tokenization, trade, and treasury is being built on XDC network, folks. Look at this. The New York Stock Exchange. This is awesome. Yeah, fintech. This is awesome, folks. I think that XDC network is really, really going towards a good future. They just need to develop. Look at this. XDC network is solving a $5 trillion global problem. You just let me, yeah. Anyways, look at this. XDC network, $5 trillion problem. XDC Foundation joined Genfinity to discuss how the XDC network is addressing the global $5 trillion trade finance gap, a problem driven by paper-based processes that block small businesses from accessing funding. So basically, XDC network is here as the intermediary to help solve this problem, and XDC is basically digitizing trade flows and enabling real world adoption. Good Dollar has officially launched on XDC network, expanding one of the world's largest Web3 UB communities into the ecosystem. It now supports 910,000 plus people across 210 countries, folks. So this is not to be taken lightly. Meanwhile, we saw this podcast, the APEC podcast, and uh, there is so much happening over here. We saw a small piece of this. You have to watch this entire thing yourselves to understand how the evolution of RWAs is happening on XDC, how DeFi plus tokenized assets will make a change, the rise of regulated stablecoins, and how XDC's compliant infrastructure is accelerating institutional adoption. We saw this part, so you have to check out the rest as well. XDC network just went fully regulated, folks. Yeah, the 21 shares XDC network ETP is now trading on Euronext Paris and Euronext Amsterdam. We had covered this. Look at this XDC Good Dollar. Good Dollar is expanding into XDC network, bringing fast, low fee transactions and open financial tools to communities worldwide. Awesome. Let me open this up. XDC Network, OS ecosystem, and BDM at the regional ITFA Worldwide Annual Conference on Trade Digitalization today at Macquarie, Sydney, folks. This is awesome. XDC Network is indeed global. It is expanding throughout the globe, going everywhere, folks. And this is the best part about XDC. $36 billion on chain and climbing. Real world assets are leaving TradeFi behind and settling on public chains, folks, and XDC network is and will be one of them. XDC is fast becoming the backbone of global trade. CCIP equals cross-chain security, ISO 20022 ready, built for trade finance. Look at this. XDC over here. Awesome, folks. a successful XDC T-Cube roundtable. Awesome. This is really good for networking, folks. Capture this post and check it again in 1 year later. XDC with a market cap of BNB $7.78. Do you think this is possible, folks? 136.54x. I would really like your opinions. What is your opinion on this? Look at this. XDC is going global this November 2025. By the way, we are in November. A few dates are still remaining, so this is a bit old post, but a few dates are remaining. 17 to 22, Def Connect, Buenos Aires, Argentina, DFC, VC Brunch, and DeFi Founders Club, as well as Argentina, folks. So this is awesome. XDC is having a good year, in my opinion, despite the volatile price action, folks. What do you guys think about XDC network? Do you think it is indeed one of the biggest opportunity in crypto and finance? I would really like your opinions. Do hit the comment box below and let the community know. Anyways, guys, this was it for the video. If you liked it, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification icon if you're interested in utility coins and potential gems. And you can also support the channel by checking out Patreon by following the link in the description box below. Until next time, stay blessed and stay tuned. Thank you very much, everyone.